Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting esoteric, and everything else in between. We're in an everything else in between type video today. So, welcome. So, the topic for today is, as you can see from the title, is it still witchcraft without the struggle? And I don't see anybody here yet, but I'm gonna go because people catch it on a replay. And I know I hate when people just pause waiting for more people to come, like, what are you gonna do? Irony. I say that as I take a pause and take something to drink. I gotta get my protein smoothie in. Isn't this a cute little cup? It just makes it's a, mango, if you were curious. I do one scoop of protein. I can't do two scoops because it's too chalky. I use a vegan protein powder, chia seeds, about maybe two teaspoons of chia seeds. Uh, and today it's mango, about a cup of mango and a cup of soy milk. Um, it's how we keep it together over here. Keep trying to keep it together. Anyway, but welcome. We're gonna get into a topic that I know for some people might ruffle a little bit of feathers. Why is my doorbell ringing? Welcome to my life. I got my Sheen stuff. They started talking about those. They started talking about them tariffs. Thank you, Insky. They started talking about those tariffs, and I was like, you're not gonna catch me. I'm gonna get my stuff, and did. Plus, I got a couple things from my daughter. She's not watching. She's at work. I had to make sure I hooked her up. So actually, it's not just me. But anywho, I'm just happy they delivered to the right house. FedEx is, at least where I live, they will deliver to everybody but your house number. It'll be down the street, around the corner. But gratefully in a community, most times, we're good about like, hey, we'll walk it over to somebody's house. Most times, I had a birthday gift. It was through Amazon. I never got it. I know they kept it, but moving on. Is it still witchcraft without the struggle? And I'm going to talk about why hoodoo deserves joy. And then we're going to get into my modern hoodoo practice. So, welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, esoteric, and everything else in between again. And I am Mika. So, I know this topic is not, there are people who don't want to hear anything differently than what they know. There are people who are hell bent on thinking that they think they're preserving something, and there's nothing wrong with that, but things also need to evolve. And I'm talking about like your practice. Even, I mean, take it out of hoodoo, just your spiritual practice. Like, don't you think it should evolve? Don't you think you should be doing? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think that there should be some evolving in the process. Um, so let me ask this: does magic only count if you've suffered for it? Deep down, ask yourself that. So keep that question. Is your power only real if it came from pain? And we're going to challenge these questions and your possible answers. Our spiritual traditions without denying it, can come from pain, from resistance, and from survival. Hoodoo. Hoodoo, for example, is rooted in the experiences of enslaved Black people using what they had in secret to protect and empower themselves. That is why when you look today and you try to find comprehensive information on a hoodoo practice, you're going to have a hard time. You will find charlatans, you will find a bunch of 20-year-olds running around with a rag on their head and burning some incense, talking like they know everything. And I'm just going to be blunt. You're going to find a couple older folk out there who probably do know what they're talking about, but it's going to come with it's going to have a price tag on that you might not be willing to pay. Um, and a bunch of people of European descent selling books that were written by Chat GPT on Amazon. I digress. That's why that is. Um, I have a hoodoo grimoire. I'm giving you high level basic information to get you started, because there is nothing on the market out there for you to kind of have that basis, and then the blank pages for you to continue your journey. I looked for it. A lot of people struggle with how to even get started. And spoiler, my hoodoo grimoire takes the modern hoodoo approach. There's nothing about a book of Psalms and all that sort of stuff, Bible, Christianity, God, Jesus, ain't none of that in there. Roots. Moving on. um, and yes, witchcraft itself has always been connected to rebellion, to being cast out, to being the other, to being othered, right? Uh, and that legacy matters. It matters. And I'm referring to my notes because I will go on a full tangent. We've turned the trauma into a prerequisite, and that's the belief I want to break today. So when suffering becomes the price of power, you might see some of these things on social media. You're not doing shadow work unless you're crying on the floor. People don't say that directly, but they're implying it. You're not powerful enough unless you've hexed or had to unbind generational curses. I'm getting into something. Um, you don't know real magic unless you've suffered to earn it. Again, not these exact words, but it's implied in what's being said. And I'm noticing this more and more when I see people with skin like mine or Black folk. The truth is, for a lot of us, especially Black witches, we've already survived enough. And our very existence is a spell of resilience. The fact that I'm sitting here talking openly about this in the middle of a day on a random Wednesday um, lets you know just how powerful I am. It lets you know I'm in a air conditioned, comfortable home. I'm living my life, running a spiritual business, writing, publishing books, and working on my health. I got time to talk about chia seeds and a protein smoothie. You know what I'm saying? That is my existence in this form is it is the spell of resilience. Yeah, I exemplify that right now. And so do you. We don't have to keep casting from wounds. We can cast from wisdom. I'm going to say that again. We don't have to keep casting from wounds. We can cast from wisdom. We can cast from wholeness. Um, the box they put hoodoo in, I'm going to talk about that next. So let's talk about hoodoo specifically and how it gets framed. People want to talk about it when they need revenge. You'll see a lot of people talk about that, and they'll talk about, oh, you need to do this. People are readily available with what you need to do when you want to get revenge. You'll have people online, or if you happen to know people, quick, they can give you some information real quick on how to work that protection. Hey, I do that myself. I can tell you a lot of things that you can do. You can find, you probably just know intuitively what you can do for protection as far as hoodoo is concerned. Bindings, a binding, same thing. People come to it for that, to fight injustice or a spiritual attack. You hear a lot of that. We hear so much of this all the time. And yes, that's all part of the tradition, but it's not all there is. Where are the conversations about hoodoo for love, for elevation, for joy, and for celebration? Where does hoodoo come in when we're celebrating? And I mean, we just even the individual, the practitioner themselves. Um, Outside of, well, I thanked my ancestors. Isn't that part of the celebration? That's part of it. I mean, that should be part of it anyway. That's the reverence. That's a built-in aspect of it. That's what it is. Um, I feel like I don't know why I'm getting things. I'm getting alerts. I don't even know what that sound is. Let me mute this. Isn't this cute? um, we don't only pray to spirits when we're scared. We don't only honor ancestors when we're desperate. Hoodoo is a living tradition and deserves to be seen in its fullness, not just its fight, right? Um, I feel like a lot of non-Black practitioners treat hoodoo like emergency magic or folklore, but don't study or honor its full emotional and spiritual range. And that is exemplified a lot in certain places and in conversations that I have personally. And I've had over the years, mind you, although I'm talking to you now on YouTube and I'm live and I'm on social media, um, there has been parts of my practice. I've moved around a lot, so I've met different people. My magic or my practice wasn't always relegated just to the internet. I actually did in-person rituals, in-person communing with other witches and other practitioners of different paths. Not so some Wicca, some all kinds of who all different types of folk, because I sought them out. It wasn't always as easy to just go online and get an online community, right? And some of us were forced to actually have to go talk to people in real life. We use the internet to find other people. Mm, this is actually good today. I'm trying not to make sure like a chia seed pops up in my teeth or something when I'm talking to you. um Even within the Black community, it's often only passed down or shared during trauma, like healing from a breakup or cleansing after a betrayal. When I think about it, that's a lot of times, some of us might even learn through movies or things that we've read, and we understand the richness of the culture. But I can't, me personally, I can't constantly operate from pain and trauma. I can't. I can learn from things, but that can't be the constant way that I learn. And my biggest issue, and it's not whose fault is it, or people are wrong, or it's not a right or wrong. It's something that I want to bring light to, and hopefully somebody hears this and they connect. And if they were starting to maybe tell a story from a place of trauma and pain, maybe this will help. Maybe this will maybe make you rethink it and alchemize this story from a place where it lands into the people. It lands where it needs to land, to the audience that it still needs to reach, but it doesn't have to be laced in pain. Um, I I can learn through joy. I can learn through, and joy doesn't mean making fun of or comedy. Joy is just that. I don't want to hear another story or watch another movie that has hoodoo influences. But the daughter got molested, or the mom's about to get raped, or some or, it's just some horrific thing around it, and then you see somebody working groups to protect somebody. Like I got it. I know that that's part of it, but there's other aspects of it too. And I feel like it's almost glamorized to kind of tell the story from that. So when in real life, when you're being told about folk practices, hoodoo and things like that, it does seem to come from a place of, you're healing after something catastrophic or some sort of trauma has taken place. And like I said, revenge, or there's been some sort of betrayal or something like that. Like I just wish it was more of a birthright. And of course, I'm not speaking for everybody. Some people get that, but a lot of us don't. we get it from usually something bad, and then we get to hear about it. So there's this constant link of pain and suffering when you talk about hoodoo. And I'll be honest, I think one of the reasons why I was slow to even warm up to the concept of, oh, I practice hoodoo, and saying that like to someone else, is because I was still identifying that, and I was like, I don't this no. And my ancestors, we all talk, and that's not what it is. I've had these conversations with my coven as well, and we don't want it to be like, stop treating it like it's yeah, like that's all there is. There's so much more to the practice than that, and that's what I think. People, we got to be open to evolving it. But let me get back on track, 'cause I'm about to go on a tangent. The point is that limits us. We deserve to know the beauty and joy in these traditions, not just the pain that they come from. And I want to talk about defining modern hoodoo. All right, so what I call modern hoodoo, it's not a reinvention. I'm not reinventing anything. It's an evolution. So it honors the elders, the root workers, the conjure women, but it also allows room to grow, which I think is super important. Modern hoodoo, as I practice it, doesn't require a Bible. That's why you're going to have your own grimoire. I don't need Psalms to feel powerful. I don't need Christian dogma. I'll repeat, I do not need Christian dogma in the background of my altar or prevalent in my practice. Instead, I work with spirit, herbs, candles, oils, and my ancestors in a way that reflects me. Modern hoodoo is not limited to pain. It's just not for fighting. It's for flourishing. And I think we need more of that. I think we need more of that. I think we need practices in 2025, in these modern times. We need to be figuring out how to flourish. We've been living in an oppressive system, as people Black people, obviously, women. Honestly, we all have, and it's all taken. Even I'll be honest, those of European descent, you're in an oppressive system. Patriarchy, which is the first thing. um, it's not. By the way, what we've learned, it's not good for the men or the women, regardless of race, ethnicity, and all that. It's not good for anybody. We're seeing the signs of that. They're talking about the men with the loneliness situation, epidemic, loneliness epidemic, and this is the product of patriarchy, um, because patriarchy doesn't evolve. So that's why this is happening. Um, Women have become more educated, beginning earning their own money. And if we have a system that doesn't evolve, and now you have these women who are evolving, you see it. We don't match. It doesn't link up, and that's part of the issue. Patriarchy goes hand in hand with racism, and racism is is why racism has everything to do with the hoodoo. They go together. So we're not gonna like erase that. That's part of it. I'm just talking about evolving from it. Um, and the individual practitioner flourishing from that. You don't have to stay there. Is my point. In the same way, we don't stay. Some of us, because some women choose to want to continue to promote and live a patriarchal existence, and not only support it, advocate for it, the trad wives and all that sort of stuff. Um, but by and large, most women, a good amount of women, are not wanting to do that. Now, some of us are grappling with how to have a hands-off approach with it completely. Some of us still want some of this, some of that, but since it's a system that doesn't evolve, you really can't have that. Hoodoo doesn't have to stay in those spaces. It doesn't have to stay aligned with the isms. We can move forward. You can evolve it, and you can flourish. And that's what I wanted modern hoodoo to represent, and that's how I practice it. So why don't I center the Bible or Christianity in my practice, and how that's not disrespectful? but liberating. I educated myself. I actually did a video where I was breaking down Christianity and decolonizing my spiritual system, or the way I think about spirituality, or in all of that. Um, Honestly, I've over the years I've met people who actually went to like Christian colleges and they studied theology, and they walked away from Christianity after that. They didn't. That was what did it. Basically, if you learn and you use multiple sources, not just the internet. I mean, multiple sources, and your will, and you learn how to study, meaning who wrote this, who are the authors, what is the time, what's going on at the time, what are their motivations, and really take the time and understand history as a whole, and not just from Americans, an American view, not, beyond your high school history. And once you learn, it's almost impossible not to see it. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it respectful because I don't want to, some people aren't ready for that type of information, but it's hard to unsee what you've seen. It's hard to unlearn. So, yeah, that's why. So, the Bible has been written, it was written by men, and it has been rewritten, and things have been removed, and so forth. And the entire thing, in my opinion, the Bible is meant for men. I don't even understand why women are running around with the Bible talking about you got to live by the word. That word was not for you. This book was meant for men. It wasn't meant for you. So every the God itself, the Christian God, to me acts like how a man is, all jealous and petty and violent. It's for men. To me, it's like their religion. I find it strange sometimes, even learning just cursory information, how many women still want to hold on to it. And then I still struggle with the I struggle. I know why, but I still struggle with understanding. And this is just my lack of patience with life. Why even someone who is an understanding of history and they know it, and they're a hoodoo practitioner, and they still want to use the Bible. Like they cannot let it go. And I've been told, I've had deep conversations with people, and I've been told and explained to, um, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater type approach. Like there's some good things in there. And I'm like, okay, so can't you just create your own Bible, and like all those good things that, can't you just write those down and reference those, so you have them when if you're doing a petition, or if you're writing something, or if you're about to speak these words for your spell? Why can't you just use that? Why can't you use your own words? Why can't you pull from your own sacred holiness, uh, the God in you, the goddess in you? Why can't you pull from that? And I never really get a straight answer, to be honest with you. So, but I do struggle with that. Um, like, if you know, why are you still doing this? And it just lets me know the one thing I've learned over the years is that humans are more fragile than we really realize. All of us, where our psyche is a lot more fragile. Um, than we want to admit. All of us, it's and some of us so desperately need to hold on to something. I'm the type of person, when presented with information that is not in line with my worldview, I'm gonna hear you out, especially if you're coming with some, and this is anything from people who want to talk about, oh, the earth is flat, to and I'm not being funny, to people. I've been told that Satan is running the world right now, and God is just angry with humanity, so He just lets Satan do his thing. I'm just telling you all kind of viewpoints that I've been told, um, and I just, when I hear that, I listen, And I actually hear you out. And I'm not like, looking, well, where are your resources? Where are you getting this from? I mean, I could do that too, but depending on what you're, if it's something in the science world, yeah, I am wondering, what are you getting where are you getting this from? But I already usually know they're getting it from like memes and YouTubes of people doctoring stuff up, and they don't realize that because they don't have an understanding. Either way, it comes down to lack of education. But I'll humor you at the first time I'm hearing this. I'll humor you and I'll listen to what you have to say. And I will listen and see where that fits in with my worldview. Like I'm doing sort of like an analysis, sometimes very quickly. And if it's something I still don't quite agree with, but I can't really speak to it because I don't understand, then I'll table and say, let me look, you know what? Hey, let me look into it. That's me. I don't immediately dismiss someone. Um, where we know um, if they don't, people who still follow the Bible, or Christians, they typically, a lot of them don't have that. They, if you come to them with anything different than what they think they know, they don't want to hear it typically, because you're talking devil talk. Insky says, I've definitely seen someone highlight portions of a Bible of passages that resonate positively. Well, I can't talk positively with them. I think that's a good approach for those interested. Yeah. Reference it, write it down, and I would even say make it your own. Take that. You know how back in the day you would read something and it would say summarize this? Do that for yourself and record it in your hoodoo grimoire. Record it there, and give it, and try that. What if you created your own? So everything from make a page, and I might even do this just to show, I'm not going to take the Bible and do that, but I might just give like affirmations, quotes, and things like that that have everything to do with prosperity that I think are powerful. And then another one for protection, and another one for love, and another one for, flourishing, so you can use those when you're working in your spells. You can use those when you're working protection work or rituals or things like that. Or you can just use them as affirmations. Don't underestimate affirmations, but we're going to get into that. Um, so, how I use hoodoo tools like floor washes, yeah, sweet jars, ritual oils, and ancestor work with a new purpose. So, calling in love, glamour, mm, financial abundance, rest, and feminine power. I don't need to, yeah, I prefer to work on those things. And when I mean love, I mean all kinds of love, because I think love, I've talked about this before. Do not underestimate the power of love and what it can do. People will cross seas for love. People have killed for love. People have made life out of love. Love is very powerful. It's extremely powerful. And glamour. Glamours are also very powerful. We see, most of us, before we judge with what we see initially. We don't know anything about the person, or whatever the situation is. We just know what we see. That's where glamour comes in, so you can present in a way where there's attraction or even repelling, if you want. And of course, financial abundance. We live in a capitalist society. Finances do matter, unfortunately. I'd like to just exist without having a cost associated with my existence, but this is the rule of the land at this time, so we're working with that, right? As practitioners, so we see how you evolve, um, and rest. Nobody talks about rest enough. The days are gone of us. Um, Working as enslaved folk. So release that aspect, give reverence and thanks and honor, um, to our ancestors who never saw, couldn't even imagine somebody like me existing. Some could, because I think not all of us were limited thinking people. But a lot of us, even if it did, it would hurt to think like that, right? Because boy, wouldn't it be I can't imagine, and I don't wanna have to imagine from their eyes. I just give respect and honor and much gratitude, that I can rest. And feminine power, because there is, before this patriarchy, before this man-made God, um, there was us. There was feminine power, there was goddess energy that was pervasive, around the world and in a lot of cultures, and we can prove that through anthropology studies, right? So, you know, there was a time. So we need to continue, especially in this country, to fight for feminine power. And how do you define feminine power? Right now, it's going to be to be resistant, to consistently be resistant, because there is a structure in place, still, that is crumbling. But as it crumbles, they are making last ditch efforts to keep it intact. So we have to be resistant. And there is power in witchcraft and in spells and in rituals and evoking goddess energy, to aid us. Acknowledging ancestral trauma while actively creating a legacy of joy. I'm going to say that again. Acknowledging ancestral trauma while actively creating a legacy of joy. That is what I'm attempting to do. That's why I talked about what's happening, politically, which is actually affecting us on a lifestyle level. It's not just a political conversation anymore. It's just life. Um, I'm very careful on how much I talk about, not because I'm afraid of pissing somebody off or somebody not watching my video or something like that, because um, sometimes we have to move in silence and we have to be mindful about who else is listening, even people who supposedly, are allies. And you just have to move in silence. So I've made it clear kind of where I stand on things. If you watch this, you'll know. But that doesn't mean, I'm not with the resistance, and and what I'm doing. I'm not going to talk about that, because I want it to work. All right. So I want to. So yeah, I wanted to share this. My aunt. This is something I will be writing down. I came up with this today, but I'm going to be writing it down in my version of my hoodoo grimoire. My ancestors didn't survive just so I could struggle spiritually too. They endured so I could thrive, and that's what modern hoodoo honors. And I truly believe that, they didn't survive just so I could struggle spiritually too. I don't want struggle love. I don't want struggle spirituality either. So let's talk about reclaiming pleasure and softness. So let's bring this home with a simple truth. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to earn softness. You don't need to be in a crisis to light a candle. Um, Sometimes I have to tell myself that, because of, I'm existing in the same world as everybody else. Sometimes I have to remind myself I don't have to be in crisis to go to my altar. I don't have to be sad. I don't have to feel in need, to go to the altar or to light a candle. I can just do so out of just pleasure, because I love the act. I love being a witch. I love having ancestral knowledge. I love having occult knowledge. I love being in the know. I love being able to go to, um, the realm that my ancestors have designated as our meeting place, and astral project and receive information, or just sit in the company of these spirits who were once living, humans on this planet, and hope to just glean more knowledge, or to just be in the presence for those mere moments or minutes, that I get to, that I'm allowed to occupy that space until I am officially one of them in their collective. I love having that knowledge and that ability. So I don't need my life to be falling apart. I don't need to be in need, to light a candle. And to me, that is the quintessential way of being soft, because I'm doing so with ease, not out of urgency, not out of crisis, emergency. It's just with ease. So this is what to me to be soft, as a witch, as a practitioner, is to not have to always be in this sense of constant emergency and need. You know, there's one would say a laziness to it, and I revel in that. There is power in enchantment, in slow mornings, in herbal baths, that are more joy than for cleansing, sadness. So, this is where my work comes in, sometimes working with other deities. So, um, definitely, this is one of the ones where if you want to work with Oshun's a good one to work with. Now, Oshun is not hoodoo is not about working with Orishas, but I like to bring her in because Oshun is about that, beauty. Don't mess with her like that. Um, if you're not, if you like, be mindful when you work with her. Like, don't bite off more than you can chew. I'll just say that. But to even if it's from like a distance and kind of just like check out how she's moved and kind of what she's about, and you can attempt to emulate that. It's easy to fit into, you know, um, just taking care of yourself, but from a spiritual aspect. Yeah. The most revolutionary spell for me has been saying, I'm allowed to be safe and powerful. I'm allowed to feel good and still be respected as a witch. All right. So to those watching, especially my Black witches, and root workers, if you're building a practice that doesn't follow the old pain maps, if you're doing magic from a healed place, if you're choosing softness over suffering, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing it different, and you're doing it beautifully. So if any part of this message hit home, I want to know. I want to hear from you. So let's let me know in the comments, what does joy look like in your practice? Have you reclaimed hoodoo, folk magic, or your spirituality in a way that centers you instead of your pain? Um, I know that's revolutionary for some people to hear. Not everybody, but some people, believe it or not, it's there's a lot of pain rooted in this, and trauma, and it's hard to kind of separate that, but we can. And it doesn't mean you won't experience pain as a hoodoo worker or root worker or conjure person. Of course you can. We're still having a human experience, but that doesn't have to make up your entire spiritual system. You don't have to work from that. You don't have to always be in that space of that. Um, how I remember that, and I've already talked about it, how I remember this is my existence is the spell that's been broken. You want to talk about generational curses, and a lot of people talk about that. I've already broken a generational curse, that has plagued for generations, by existing and being knowledgeable, um, open to healing, working through that, open to expressing pleasure and joy and receiving it, being receptive of it, not in always a place of service, decolonizing my spirituality, and being bold enough to call myself a witch. Yeah, that's me. All right, so let me know in the comments if you catch this on a replay. This is kind of going to be a short one because I have some things I've got to get to today. I have, believe it or not, I've got to prepare. My son is leaving the Air Force and he's going to be coming home soon. So I want to clear up some space for some of his stuff as he starts his next chapter. So I'm going to go do that. My members here at YouTube. There's a video, I got to finish editing that I already recorded earlier. So I'm going to put that up. And I'm still humoring if I'm going to go live on TikTok. So I'll be talking about my Hoodoo Grimoire book if I do, but also I'm going to kind of maybe expand this topic over there. I'm still trying to see. TikTok is still something I'm still trying to figure out. Leap Taken is on TikTok, if you didn't know. I'm still desperately trying to figure this out. It's just a different platform. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out this algorithm, to be honest with you, but I'll see. I'm thinking about trying something today. I don't know. I don't know why I'm struggling with this. Like I go live here, it means like it is what it is, but over there it'll just, I don't know, it feels differently over there. Is it just me? Is anybody posting on TikTok? You know what I'm talking about? It just feels different. But anyway, but I may go ahead and do that. And I'm working on a writing project that I definitely want to. My goal is to have this done by next month. And if I can really do this, if I can stay on task, I want to have it out and available by the end of next month. And I'm quite excited about this. It's a detour from the grimoires. It is a writing project, so it'll be a book, but it's something a little bit different, and it's something I've personally been looking for a while, um, and I don't see it. So I know this is going to be something good. I know it's going to be something interesting and something uh, we want. I'll just say that. So I'm going. I'm into it. I'm about a third of the way done. I have my outline and I'm basically just working through it. So I've already the concept, and now I'm actually just doing it and putting in the information. And it's just a process to do it because I keep making sure, is this relevant? Does this make sense? Would I want to do this? I've been practicing for a while. I'm always thinking like that. Thank you for the chat today. Ah, yes, thank you. Hopefully the TikTok venture goes well. We'll see. We'll see. Y'all, it's a process of trying to figure that place out. I know I can go live over there. I figure that much out, but it's like, you know, you ever accidentally scroll like or live, like you might have accidentally gone there and then you go and somebody's like, oh, hey, welcome, Mika. I'm glad you joined. And you're like, I didn't mean to be here. I didn't mean to join this live. And then me being the nice person I am, I wait a few moments and then I leave. I don't want to leave right away. I feel so bad though, because it's like they're not talking about anything that fits anything. I mean, and I'll stay, I mean, if it's something interesting, but I don't want to be there. It was an accident. I just wanted to scroll. Um, I don't want that to be me. So we'll see. We'll see. As they say, get perceived exactly, Insky. I don't want to be on the other end of that. And I'm like, welcome, J21178 or whatever their username, somebody like that. And then they go away immediately. I can handle that maybe once. If it kept happening, I'd be like, oh God, oh God. But I know we all gotta start somewhere, right? So I'll get over myself. We'll see. All right. Well, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully, you guys think about some of the stuff I went over and the concept of modern hoodoo that celebrates more pleasure and joy and not working from a place of suffering and pain because we're allowed to evolve. Our practice is allowed to evolve. All right. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the join button to join Leap Taken membership. Again, I do member only videos. There you see me working actual spells or working on ritual or sharing some of my occult knowledge in a more demonstrating it versus just talking about it. So that's one of the perks. Of course, I also do card readings there as well. So they definitely get the advantage there if you join. And the other big perk is that there's 40% off. They get a coupon for any service, any product over at leaptaken.com. So that's the other thing. And did you know that if you did want to purchase any of my Book of Shadows, the Book of Shadows for the Love Witch, Book of Shadows for the Hearth Witch, and of course the Hoodoo Grimoire, You can purchase them now through my website, leaptaken.com. The good news is there's no shipping when you purchase it through me. So go ahead and check that out. All right, now I'm done. All right, bye. Thank you.